Okay. I think Katrina was removed from the group. If you can contact Katrina, can you please tell her to rejoin the class? Once again, our lesson is about understanding the normal distribution. I did not ask you to watch the video lesson in the LMS regarding understanding the normal distribution because I saw some minimal, how do we call this one? May maling information doon lang sa video. But nevertheless, the video itself ay maganda din naman or good na information for this topic. But I decided um, not to encourage you to watch the video. Okay, when you say normal distribution, basically, this will be an important topic in inferential statistics. Okay, so normal distribution or simply normal curve is a bell-shaped distribution which has an important role in inferential statistics, as mentioned earlier. So it also provides us a geographical or graphical representation of statistical values that are needed in describing the characteristics of a population as well as in making decisions. So in our daily life, there are many events generating random variables that are either normally distributed or at least approximately normally distributed. Like, for example, the heights of your the whole class, the weight, examination scores, salary, opinions, and others. So during the time that you are going to defend your research to, you are going to say that you are assuming that the data is normal or approximately normal for you to use the normal distribution. Okay? So assuming this one, when I'll ask you, kunyari kung nasa face-to-face tayo to grab um, certain data here, the random sample is 100 women, and then we were able to increase the sample size. So what happened? Um, Itong B, we increase from 100 women, say for example, we increase it to 130 women. And then for letter C, from 130 women, we increase to 150, for instance, women. Notice that as the number of sample is increasing, your data is normal or approximately normal. Naging bell-shaped. Ang itsura, kapag lumalaki yung ating sample size. You have to take note of this kasi the panel in your research will ask you, how many sample size did you consider in your research and why is it that it's 100, why it's 120? The bigger the sample size is, the better because your data will be normal or approximately normal. That's the central limit theorem. Okay? So, habang lumalaki yung sample size, the distribution will be normal or approximately normal. So, it's like a bell shape. Okay? So, here are other sample of the distribution. When you say normal class, normal distribution, the mean, the median, and the mode coincide at the center of the distribution. Here, you can find the mean, the median, and the mode. Okay? Once your data is negatively skewed, meaning the mean, um, the median is left of median is the mean, and then right is mode. This will be the graph of your data. But when the mode is at the left of the median, and then the median, right of the median is the mean, this is positively skewed. So we are aiming that your data will be this one. How do we achieve that? You have to increase your sample size. And there are many ways how to do sampling, how to determine the number of samples. But we're not going to graph here. So here are the properties of the normal distribution. It's the bell shape. The first one we have um, the normal distribution. curve is bell-shaped. You know what a bell looks like? The mean, the median, and the mode are located at the center of the distribution. The normal distribution curve is unimodal. When you say unimodal, it has only one mode. When the data has two mode, it's not unimodal, but it's called bimodal. When three modes, that trimodal. Number three, the curve is symmetric about the mean, which is equivalent to saying that its shape is same on both sides of a vertical line passing through the center. What is meant by number four? When you have the normal distribution here, the area, it's symmetrical. The area to the right is tantamount to the area to the left. Okay? That is, this is 50% of the area, and this is 50% as well of the area. That's what is meant by the curve is symmetrical about the mean. For number five, the curve is continuous. That is, there are no gaps or holes. For each values of x, there is corresponding value of y. So there is a term there in general math that is asymptotic. So meaning to say, as your sample size increases, this x value will just getting closer and closer and closer to the x-axis, but it will never intersect the x-axis. That term is called asymptotic. For number six, that is actually the explanation in number five. The curve never touches the x-axis. Theoretically, no matter how far in either direction the curve extends, it will never meet the x-axis, but it gets increasingly closer. The total area under a normal distribution curve is equal to 100%. This fact may seem unusual since the curve never touches the x-axis, but one can prove it mathematically by using calculus. But of course, proving that the area under the normal distribution is 100% or equal to 1 is beyond the scope of this topic. So I'll just show you later why is it that this area is equivalent to 50%, where in fact the x-axis never touches the y-axis. Number eight, the area under the part of the normal curve, what lies within one standard deviation of the mean is approximately 68%. Two standard deviation is around 95%, and three standard deviation is around 99.7%. This is called the ang tawag ganito sa statistics. I forgot the name. The empirical rule, ayun. It's called the empirical rule, the 68 by 99 points, the 68 by 95% by 99.7%. So this is the empirical rule that I am talking earlier. Ay, paliwanag yan. Ito na lang. Here is the mean. So assuming you are taking the exam in math, and then the mean, this is the symbol for mean. I hope you're still familiar. Is 25 or 24. The mean is 24 out of 40. The standard deviation, for instance, is 0. Here's a standard deviation. Okay. The data above or from here, one standard deviation above and below the mean, assuming that the standard deviation is 1. So it's easy for us to compute. So if your score is 25, our average is 24, meaning to say your score is one standard deviation above the mean. If your score is 23, meaning to say your score is one standard deviation below the mean. Remember, the standard deviation tell us how the spread of the scores are. Okay, it tell us how far you score from the mean. So if your score is from 23, 24, and 25, you belong to the 68% of the class. This is the 68%. One standard deviation above and below the mean. Okay? If your score is 26 and 22, meaning to say you are two standard deviation above and below the mean, you belong to the 95% of the class. 26 ito, this will be 22, this is 23, this is 24 the mean, and this is 25. Okay? I repeat, when your score is from 22 to 26, you belong to the 95% of the class. When your score is at 21 or 27, you belong to the 99.7% of the class. Assuming that the standard deviation is 1, meaning the scores are compressed. Now, if your score is 25, so of course you will divide 68%, that will be 34.13. I did not round up. So 34.13%, you belong to the 34.13% of the class, meaning one standard deviation above the mean is 34.13 of the class. Two standard deviation above the mean is 13.59% of the class. 2.28% above the mean, sorry, 2.28% comprises three standard deviation above the mean. So 1, 2, 3. Okay? 34% also belongs to the three stand one standard deviation below the mean. 13.59 is two standard deviation below the mean, and 2.28% is also three standard deviation below the mean. As mentioned earlier, one of the characteristic of the normal distribution is that the area is equal to 100%. But here, the total area is 99.7% only because this is only asymptotic. So there is a remaining 0.3%. Okay? That point, am I correct? 0.3%. Yeah. That 0.3% are those scores which are too high and scores which are too low. So, kukonti lang naman yan sila. Kaya 0.3% lang yan. Okay? But you don't need to memorize this one because we have a table that will illustrate how to get the 34.13%, the 13.59, the 2.28, and so on and so forth. Okay? Can you ask something, question? If I am too fast? Clarification? Okay,
None po.
none? Sige. Now, let's have this one. I think this is same only. Um, in getting for the area under the normal distribution, we will be using um, it tests. It's called Z test. I'll be sending you later the Z test. Now, this is an important part in this lesson because Z test is used. You listen to me carefully. When your sample size is greater than or equal to 30 and you have the population standard deviation, we'll be using z-test. When you don't have the population standard deviation, it's not possible to use the z-test. Okay? So example, find the area to the example number 1. So find the area correspond to z is equal to 0.6. Okay? Area is 0.6 or 0.60. So, of course, we are not going to use the empirical rule kasi the empirical rule it's only for 1, 2, 3 standard deviation above the mean and 1, 2, 3 standard deviation below the mean. So here in the z-test, you can find 0.6. So we have there, I cannot edit kasi naka-PDF. Left side, I mean the vertical, this part, this is the vertical that I am telling you. Makikita ba to? Ito po ang vertical na tinutukoy ko. Yung 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, and so on. That's the vertical. And then the horizontal is the upper part, 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04. Okay? Now, 0.6 is here. That area is Can you tell me what is the area of 0.6? Okay. 0.1, the area is 0.398. 0.11, the area is, dito tayo. Okay na to? 0.5 tayo. 0.5, the area is 0.1915. 0.51, the second column, the area is 0.1950. 0.52, the area is 0.1985. This is positive, meaning to say that the scores are above the mean. When the z-score is negative, meaning the scores are below the mean. 0.53, that's 0.2019. 0.54, the area is 0.2054. We have there 1.70, the area is 0.4554. Nakikita po ba yung binabasa kong number? Tell me kung hindi nakikita. Yung pinakababa ang binabasa ko. I don't know kung i-edit ko siya. Para makita yung sana kung ano yung pinagsasabi ko. Para yun. Ito yung sinasabi ko, sana maano natin ano. 0.70 yung kanyang area. Medyo malabo ang ballpen. Okay, 0.70, this one, kita na. So 1.70 ang kukunin natin. So titingin ka sa 1.7 and then 0. Ito po yung 0. So this will be 0.4545. When you are getting for the 1.67, so 1.60 is here and then 7 is here. So pagtatagpuin natin, the area will be 0.4525. Okay? When we are getting for the area of 1.29, so 1.2 and then 9, so the area will be here. This is the area, 0.4015. Do you understand now? It's yes or no only. Do you understand how to get the z-score?
Yes, please, sir.
Okay. So going back to my question, what is the area of 0.6 here? You can type if you want. What's the area of 0.6? Akala ko ba naintindihan yung kanina? Ano yung area ng 0.6? Okay, that's correct. 0.2257, Annabelle. Ito po, 0.2257. So, ibig sabihin, when you are going to graph this one into a normal distribution, tinamit ko pala yung office. Ito nawala. When you are going to graph it in the normal distribution, z is equal to 0.6. Here is the normal distribution. This is 0. That's above the mean. So 0.6, meaning to say this shaded area is equivalent to 0.2257. Or when you are going to convert that into percent, you just multiply it by 100. That's 22.57%. Now let's try number 2. Z is equal to negative 1.47. So basically, since it's negative, that is the area below the mean. So that's, forgive me if my drawing is not like a bell shape. This is 0. So you just approximate negative 1.47. So negative 1.47, you disregard the negative, so we're looking for the 1.47. So what's 1.47 here? Can you type what is the equivalent of 1.47?
0.1143.
0 point, again, I did not,
0.4292.
that's correct, 0.4292. So meaning to say, you have to shade kasi. This is equivalent to, ano nga yun? 0.4292. Or when you are going to convert that to percent, it's 42.92%. All throughout the lesson of statistics, we will be using the z-test table. So it's important that you know how to draw the graph. Okay, let's have number 3. V is equal to 2.13. Above the mean or below the mean? If that's 2.13.
Above po.
Okay, that's correct. So you'll just approximate. So somewhere here, it's 2.13. So we are concerned what is the area of this shaded part. This one. In your activity na ipapasa sa LMS, you have to shade the graph. Importante yan kasi next lesson, that will help you how to find the area. So 2.13, 2.13 is around here. What's 2.13?
0.4834 po.
That's correct, 4834. So this is area is equal to 0.4834 or equivalent to 48.34. Okay? I give you two options whether to write your answer in decimal or write your answer in percent because I do not know whether the exam will use percent or decimal. Okay? Let's have the last one. Let's find the area for number 4. Z is equal to 1.73. Negative tayo. So negative, that's below the mean. So here, somewhere here, negative. Just estimate. So 1.73, you have to shade the graph. So 1.73 negative is equivalent to what? What's equivalent? $70, na-edit pala. Hindi ka marunong, ano. Taas natin. Sorry. Wala. So 1.70 something, ibaba natin to. Edit natin. 1.73 ang tanong ko, ano? So kung 1.73 yan, eto siya, 70, di lang makita. And then here is the 70. Ayun, ano sunod? Okay, so ang 1.73 natin ay 0.4582. Pa po?
Opo.
Nakita ba yung 0.4582? So we have here, this is 0.4582 or equivalent to 45.82%. So I want you to practice for the whole week how to get the area. Kasi next week, we'll be getting the area above and below and in between. So this time, ang kinukuha lang lagi natin is the area and our point of reference is always below, is always the standard deviation or the middle or zero is our point of reference. Question so far? No question? I'll be getting the attendance. Huwag muna umalis. This is yours. Okay, if there are no more questions, that's all for today. Thank you for joining the class. We'll send you the presentation and then the activity as well as the z-test table. Thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you po,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you po, sir.
Bye, sir.